Right, good evening, everyone.
Good
Those of you
evening.
that don't know me, my name is Jan Owbridge. I'm one of the founding vice presidents. As Steve Jenkins will tell you very often, I'm no longer a proper vice president. I cruise more than I work. I can run my hierarchy from the middle of the and unfortunately, lockdown has put paid to that for me for a while. But I love Jenny Star. I love what we do, and I love training people, and I'm really excited about what is happening in the company at the moment. But I want to talk to you today about having a balanced life, and we're looking at 9 F's of a balanced life. So, how to have a balanced life. Can I suggest you all mute yourself, and then if you want to ask a question, you can unmute, because I'm filming this for people that want it filming. And if we've got your kind of crinkling in the background, it'll spoil it for everyone. So that would just be a blessing to me if you could. So the 9 F's, that will give you an idea of how to have a balanced life. And these are the 9 F's, so you can just see those for yourself. And we're just going to look at each of them just briefly to kind of see how balance can be brought into each of these areas. Now, as an exercise, at the beginning, I would say take a piece of paper and draw a circle, and actually draw 10 circles, or 11, because then you've got 10 gaps, right? Then label each of them, or you can label the lines or the gaps, whichever, 1 in the middle and 10 on the outside. And then divide your circle into 9 triangles, nine pizza pie pieces, okay? And label each of them with these labels: finances, family, faith, etc. And then go through each of them and honestly evaluate, after we've done this, honestly evaluate where you are on each of them out of 10. So you might be a 10 on finances. You might have it all together. You might, well, probably not 10 because you're still working, so you're probably not a millionaire yet. But you know, you might be quite high on finances because Jenny Star helps us with that. So you might be doing pretty good. You might be out of debt. You might have savings. You might be making money, etc. So that might be good. But fitness, you might be a 1. So when you've colored in, and I always color in the bits that I am, you see that at the end you've got a very wonky wheel. And your job now is to start balancing it out to help your wheel become more balanced, okay? So it's not a wobbly wheel. Now, first of all, finances. Well, as I said, Jenny Star helps us with finances. So one of the things you need to know about that wobbly wheel I was talking about is that it will always be wobbly, because none of us have got it, that we're doing everything right in every area. But it helps us to visualize and see which areas we honestly need to work on. Some areas we're doing great on without trying, but other areas we're not. So finances, where are you with your finances? How much do you have in your emergency fund? If some of you come from abroad, if your family had a crisis and you had to jump on a plane tomorrow without looking at whether it was the cheapest economy seat you could get, how easy would it be for you to do without the help of Mr. Barclay or Mr. MasterCard? Could you do it? Do you have enough emergency fund? And so you need to make sure all these different areas are good. Make sure you know what you're doing with your money. Now, my finances, my balance of finances is very different now at age 68 and 76. My husband is in 2 weeks. No, 1 week, actually. 1 week yesterday. So 6 days, he's 78 and 76. Yeah, 76, not 78. 76. And I'm 68, he's 76. So at this time in our lives, I have not got enough doubling periods to get the rule of 72 working for me, which is why I joined Genistar with the idea of building a passive income so that my retirement was not dependent upon a fund, because I didn't have long enough to build a fund. I've got money in an investment, not a lot, but a little bit in there, like an emergency fund in there. I call it my ironing fund, actually. I've got bits of money all over the place, which is my ironing fund. If you want to know what that is, you can ask me yourself. But my fund, my building of my finances was building my business so that I have a passive income, and I have a good passive income. I'm not a millionaire. I never actually wanted to be a millionaire. I'd like to be a millionaire, but I never actually, that wasn't my goal to be a millionaire. I wouldn't turn it down if it fell in my lap. But I wanted to have enough money coming in on a regular basis so I could live comfortably and enjoy my cruises. That was my goal, and I have achieved that goal. Okay. So your goal will be different because you're younger than me. And if you're not, then you want to have a goal of building a big income so that you've got a passive income. You know, I know Steve told me that he's told people in not meeting this, when he shows my picture, it says this lady makes more money doing nothing than most of you make in a day job. And that's the truth. I do. And I make no, I'm getting more and more, because the better that the hierarchy does, the better I do. And that's great. So finances, we should definitely get a handle on this. Can somebody who's not muted mute themselves, please?
Jan, you probably find it easier to mute everybody.
Yeah, I probably would, actually.
Thanks.
I thought I'd got some mature people here, but yeah, where are we? Mute. I don't very often do this. Where am I? Mute, 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 mute. I can't see where it says to mute everybody.
If you go to your participant, Jan.
I go to my what?
Your participants and use the
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I was, okay. I was looking at the, yeah, that's all right. Done.
Okay.
Right. You're all muted. So if you, yeah, you're all muted. So you need to unmute yourself if you want to speak. So that's finances. So if you don't have a good emergency fund, you don't have a plan for your future, you're not paying your bills, you've got lots of debt, then you're not a 10. So be honest where you are, because that's something you need to be working on. Now, the next area is family. It's about time. How much time do you spend with your family? Now, I have to tell you that there is always going to be a time when your family is not getting enough time because of your work situation, or when you join Genistar, when you start building your business, there's a season when you'll be out of balance, and that's okay, but it's the way you communicate that. So with your family, you need to be saying, okay, this is what I need to do for you. And it could be, Jeff always says to kids in a household, you know, how would you like to go to Disneyland? Well, if you let mommy or daddy go out and do Genistar, then they'll start saving money towards taking you to Disney. And you get the kids on board. And so when you stay home, it's like, why aren't you working? I want my Disney trip. So it's really communicating to your family that there's a season, there's a time when you are go, 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 going for a promotion, going for a contest, going for a holiday, whatever it is, you're going for it. And you need to give your family less time. However, that doesn't last forever. And it's very easy, especially in lockdown, it's very easy to spend a lot of time doing what I do, sitting in my office at my computer, doing stuff which actually could be set aside to spend time with your family. something that my son does once a week. They have, and we did this over the years as my kids were growing up. We did this. One night a week was family night. And we'd watch a movie, we'd get popcorn, we'd all chill out, we'd play games or whatever it was, but it was family night. And I know Steve and Isabel do that with the boys. They have a family night where they just cut out, they turn the phones off, and they just take time out. And unless it's, like a desperate time for something, but that's normal. Normally they have a family night, and it's important to do that, even if it's a family couple of hours. You've got to find the time to spend with it. Years ago, I was married very young. For those of you that don't know, I was married when I was 16, and I had my children when I was 19, my son when I was 19, my daughter when I was 23. And I wanted to make sure that my family life didn't suffer because of my age. So I kind of looked into things a lot. And one of the things that I teach when I teach on relationships is this. First of all, ladies, we are the worst at this. Guys, don't get cocky. You have your downsides too, right? But ladies, we are the worst. We give up being a woman to become a wife. We forget to be a woman. And I'm a Christian, so I make no bones about that. Whatever you are, it doesn't matter to me. But a lot of my life is based on my relationship with God. So my relationship with God is as a woman, not as a wife. So you've got to still be you. You've still got to have your own personality, your own likes and dislikes. You don't lose yourself to become a wife. Then when you become a mother, what a lot of women do is they transfer affection from the husband to the children. And so now I hear women say, my children are the most important people in my life. Really? I made the decision that my husband came first after God, and my children fitted into our lives. And I taught them that's how it was supposed to be. And so I never lost my wifehood, if you like, to become a mother. I became a mother, but I was still a wife first. And I said, I don't want to get to the stage where after the kids have flown the nest, we sit opposite each other at breakfast and go, who are you? And what have we got left in this relationship because we didn't nurture it? So family life has to be nurtured. And so I never wanted to get to that place where I lost myself or I lost my relationship with my husband for my children. Listen, let me tell you something. Your children grow up and leave you. Right? They come back when they want something, but they grow up and leave you. I love my kids. I have a great relationship with both of my kids and my in-laws. But my husband comes first. And that's the way that your family is set up. So we need to make sure that we nurture relationships. So you nurture time with your husband. I tell young couples, doesn't matter if you've got no money, what you need to be doing is having a date once a week, even if it's just walking together. Sometimes, especially during this lockdown, Alan and I would just walk around the village. We'll just walk. We'll just go from one side of the village, walk around to the co-op if it's open, get something at the co-op sometimes, and then walk the other way home again, get all our steps in. But we just do it. We walk around, we hold hands and we chat and we have a date. So you need to do that because family is important and you need to nurture it. So don't give up family for anything else, especially not for money. What are you building the money for? What are you making the money for if it's not for family? Okay, so finances are important, but family is mega important because you're building your finances for your family. Then there's faith. Now, no matter what faith you follow, where does it factor in your daily life? Now, if I upset you here, I'm not sorry. I'm a pastor. So I say this from a position of knowledge, okay, and experience. Your faith is not your service to your church. Your faith is your service to God, which you can do 24/7 wherever you are. Yes, you can take time out to pray, take time out to read the Bible, but pray without ceasing, whatever. Whatever your faith, it's got nothing to do with going to church, going to temple, going to synagogue, wherever it is you go. Those are additional things. Yeah, we're not supposed to neglect gathering together. And I thank God we're able to go to church during tier 3 lockdown, because I'm in tier 3. So we've got church on Sunday, thank God. That is not the be all and end all. Going to church, working in church is not supposed to be out of balance. We're talking about a balanced life. If you are in church, I remember recruiting somebody one time, or talking to somebody about them joining the business. And I said, okay, so set aside some time for your business. You need to allocate time. You're working in the day. So which evenings could you set aside for Genistar? Well, they did church Sunday night. They did prayer meeting Monday night. They did leaders meeting Tuesday night. They did band practice, church Wednesday night, band practice Thursday night, all night prayer Friday night, and then evangelism Saturday. When are you going to make money, honey? Don't think that doing all those activities in church is your faith. It's not. And it's not balanced. If you want, it's no good joining Genistar if you're in church 6 nights a week. Promise you. Sorry, but it's not. You've got to take some time to build your business. Now, once your business is built and you've got a passive income coming in, and you don't need to go out and see people, you don't need to get on Zoom and see people, then you can be in church 7 days a week, 24/7 if you like. But that is not balanced. If what's happening with your kids, how many kids do you know that go off the rails, that leave church, that don't want anything to do with church or temple or whatever else it is, right? I can only speak from my own experience. Because they were forced to be in church 5 days a week. I promise you, the numbers are staggering. How many people are no longer in church because they were forced into it as a child? God doesn't force us. So if you want to work, when I pastored full-time, I'm a life pastor in our church. I don't have overall responsibility for the church, so I don't make the rules. But when I did, I wouldn't let anybody have more than 2 jobs in our church, because nobody can do more than 2 jobs voluntarily well, right? So I just didn't let them do it. If they say, oh, yeah, I'll do that, pastor, I say, no, you're already doing this and this. You can't take on anymore. If you want to do this, you've got to give up one of those, because despite the fact that 80% of the people do 20%, or 20% of the people do 80% of the work, which happens in business as well as in church, you don't want that. You don't want people that are neglecting their family, neglecting their finances, and neglecting the rest of their life to be in church. That is not the way it's supposed to be, folks. And I'm sorry if I've upset you, but, listen to me. Please listen to Pastor Jan if you're a Christian. And if you're not, listen to Mama, because I promise you, you need a balance in every area. And being in church 6 nights a week is not balance. Okay, here endeth that lesson. Well, fun. I like fun. The first 3 letters of fundamentals is fun. And in Genistar, we know how to have fun, don't we? I mean, if any of you saw the little video I did for the history of Genistar, I mentioned in that we had Genistar's Got Talent. Oh man, that was fun. We used to have some good times. We always have fun. Jeff is crazy, so he loves fun. And when you've got a CEO that's fun and loves fun, well, you can't help having fun. We love it. And you've got to have fun. My goodness, life is not worth living if you can't have a bit of fun. And your idea of fun might be different to my idea of fun. But whatever your idea of fun is, do it. I love my iPad. For me, my iPad is fun. I love bowling, 10-pin bowling. That's fun. My iPad, I love word games. I love jigsaws, That's fun. I was doing a jigsaw just at the beginning of this while I was waiting for the time. Just doing a jigsaw on my iPad. I love that. That's fun. My computers are fun, but they're also work. So find out what you think of as fun and do it, because you've got to have some time to have fun. When was the last time you did something just for fun, just because it was fun to do? Well, if it wasn't a long time, if it wasn't recently, maybe you're only a 1 or 2 on fun. Maybe you need to build the fun element of your wheel. So I keep looking at my watch because I don't know why, because it's not actually showing the time. It's an iWatch which is showing something else. Okay, so fun is important, and I love to have fun. So I'm a fun person. I like doing things with my grandkids, and I love doing things with my kids, and I love doing crazy stuff as well. And I love holidays. That's fun. Cruises, even more fun. I'm going away at Christmas. I don't care what the lockdown says. I'm gone. It says you shouldn't travel unless it's important. Well, my holiday is important. I'm going to go straight from my house to the airport and not see anybody. So that's all right. I'm going to socially distance and wear my mask all the way there. And then I'm going to lie in the sun for 2 weeks. So I'm going to have fun. Now, I don't find it fun when people splash me in the face in the water. That is not fun to me. I don't find that fun when people throw balls and it hits me in the head. That's not fun. Then I lose my sense of humor then. But doing stuff that's a bit different is fun. And I love being with friends. I love going out to dinner. That's fun for me. What's fun for you? Now, what about fitness? This is the one that I'm not the greatest at. I walk. And of course, in lockdown, it's really easy to be a couch potato, isn't it? It's horrible weather. It was a bit yucky out there today. So, going for a walk was like, I've got other things I can be doing. So it's really easy not to go for a walk. And of course, I can't go bowling at the moment because tier 3, the bowling alleys are locked down. But I've got a bowling ball at my bowling mitt, which is right here in my office. And every now and again, I just put the mitt on and I pick up my bowling ball and I do some swings. I swing it. And I swing it with the other hand, so that I'm beginning to build a bit of muscle on that side as well. But I swing my bowling ball. Mainly I do that because when I went bowling during the bit that we weren't locked down, I couldn't lift my ball. I've been so long without bowling that my ball was like a lead weight. I had to use a house ball. So I'm determined that's not going to happen again. But whatever it is that you do to get fit, I'm not one of these that get on a walker, a treadmill, or I'm not that kind of person, really. I'll go up and down the stairs and I'll pick up my bowling ball and I'll walk around the village, but that's about it. Running, no, not unless I've got a bus to catch. And even then, I'll probably just let it go and get the next one. But you've got to think about how you can get fit. Part of getting fit for me was losing weight because I was so unfit when I was heavy. It got to the point where walking upstairs was an effort for me. Running for a bus was definitely not going to happen. It was, and if I had to walk up 2 flights of stairs, or when I went to visit a client and they lived on the 3rd floor, I'd be like stopping halfway up to get my breath. And I thought, this is no good. So losing weight for me was part of getting fit. So that's an area of my life that I had to look at. In fact, we started bowling because we said we need to do something to get fit. And so we said, well, we keep saying we're going to go. So we did. And I remembered how much I'd enjoyed it. I hadn't been for like 16 years. Remembered how much, I did go at the beginning of Genistar. Went to Elephant and Castle. But I remembered how much I'd enjoyed it. And so we started going every week. And when we go, we don't just play 2 games, we play 10. So I go every Monday night and I play 10 games nonstop. So we're moving like that all the time. Believe me, I can't wear a jumper. I have to wear a t-shirt because you work up a sweat. and you're using a lot of energy. So, so that was my step to getting fit. What's your step to getting fit? What can you promise yourself for doing it? You know, not a chocolate bar, but, you know, get your Fitbit and maybe say, when I get to platinum, I'm going to treat myself to this. Or when I get to silver, I want to get to gold, etc. Treat yourself to something as a reward. Reward yourself for getting this balance. Then, of course, friends. Hey, when was the last time you got together with friends? When was the last time you gave them a call? Just talk to them for no reason. I had a chat with somebody last week who I hadn't spoken to for ages and ages. Really good friends. I've known them for over 35 years. I've got two lots of friends that I've known very similar length of time. This one set about a year longer than the other. And we normally get together. We don't live anywhere near each other. One lives in Warrington and the other one lives in Essex. And so we only see them maybe once a year, but we haven't seen for ages because we had a meeting scheduled for when we locked down. For both of them, we were supposed to see one lot in March for our anniversary and the other lot in June. And it didn't happen. So it was good to just talk to them. When was the last time you chatted to them? The thing is, when you're in a business like ours and you're on the phone for business all the time, sometimes you don't want to call people because you don't want to actually, first of all, you're fed up with being on the phone. But even if you do, you feel like you want to recruit them. And yet they're mates. You're not trying to recruit them. My friends know I do, but they're both retired. One of them is doing something, I don't know what he's doing, just to keep busy. He's not out to make money. He's got money. He was a policeman for 30 years. So, you know, he got a good pension. And the other one, she's pretty much the same, not police, but she's got a good pension. Her husband's got an excellent pension, 2 pensions. So they're doing all right. They're, you know, they don't want extra money. They're quite happy doing what they do. They've got their grandchildren and so on. So they're not interested in our business. So I don't talk to them about it, except if they ask me how it's going. But it can be difficult. You sometimes just have to make a decision. These are your mates and you just call them. And, you know, without actually trying to recruit them. Although, you know, you can. I told the story last week, I think, where my son, when he was in school, his 2 best friends were brothers, Charles and George, and they were mixed race boys. The mum was from Solomon Islands and dad was from Manchester. And so they were the only black kids in school, actually, apart from their sister, who was a year older than them. They went to boarding school. And Steve and they became best of friends. And they stayed good friends the whole way through school. Then Charles left school and joined the army as a helicopter pilot, which is what Alan was. And George was living in Manchester, got married. But Steve has stayed in touch with him. And when Steve joined Genistar 12 and a half years ago, he called George because he knew that they were struggling financially. He was, I think, a teaching assistant or something. And, you know, they were struggling. He knew that an extra £500 to £1,000 a month could seriously change their lives. So he gets on the phone and he's talking to George. And he said, George said, well, what is it? And he's like, well, I'm not supposed to tell you, but, and then he went ahead and proceeded to give him the whole spiel on Genistar. This is what not to do, right? No, not to do this. Okay. Did I miss firm? I did, I missed firm. Ah, okay, I'll come back to that after. I thought I'd missed firm, done it the wrong way around. See, it's because it's on video, isn't it? So anyway, they arranged that George and Maria were going to come visit. Steve was going to tell him all about it. About 3 days later, he phoned George and said, so what's happening? When are you coming? He said, no. He said, I spoke to Maria about it, and she can't see how you can make money doing this. And he's like, what? Maybe I didn't explain that to you properly. So he went ahead and explained it all again. And he never joined. Now, he and Maria are split up a few years ago. 2 months ago, George came on board. He joined the team. But 13 years. But during those 13 years, Steve never pushed him to join Genistar. So that's a good time to go back to firm. He never ever talked to George about Genistar. He did his buildings and contents for him. He did his life cover for him. But he never ever pushed him to join Genistar. But when George was ready, 12 years later, he said to Steve, so how do I get into this thing now? And now he's part of the team, which is great. So friends and business sometimes do mix, but just spend time with your friends without worrying about it being your business. Now, how much time do you give to your business? And that should have come straight after Faith when I was talking about giving time to your business. Genistar is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Genistar is a proper regulated business that requires work. Now, if you join any business or you buy into any business, suppose you buy a McDonald's franchise or you buy a shoe shop, okay? Your business plan will show you that it'll probably be 3 to 5 years before you start making profit. That is normal in business. A good business plan will make allowances for that. You will never, if you've got a hotel, you will never have 100% occupancy. You've got 10 rooms in a hotel, 7 or 8 of them will be, you can pretty much reckon to have filled, but not 10. If you've got 10 filled, that's a bonus, or 12 filled, that whatever you've got, that's a bonus. So there's always got to be an element of, in business, a time where you are in a building mode. You're not in a receiving mode, you're in a sowing mode. You're not reaping, you're sowing. And it's the same with Genistar. Now, the good thing is that you go into profit pretty much straight away, right? Because 140 quid, that's your investment. So as soon as you do business, you're in profit. But building your business to a point where you can take your foot off the pedal, off the accelerator, takes time. It took me, mind you, I'm not a good example because it was at the beginning of the company. So it took a lot longer in those days than it takes now. But it took me probably 7 years to build a passive income that was big enough for me to live on. And then since I've been in Lincoln, that's pretty much what I've been doing. And of course, it's grown. But you need to give that time to the business. So you say, but I work full time and I've got to come home and I've got to cook and clean and what have you. Well, first of all, if you're a woman and you've got a husband, then you need to talk to him about the business and get his buy-in. Because when you're out seeing families or when you're on the computer doing a Zoom call, he needs to be cooking the dinner or looking after the kids, right? He needs to be doing his bit to help you. If you're a husband, recognize that, your wife still needs a bit of attention. So you need to give yourself the right time. Now, with Zoom, we don't need to give as much time to our business as we did before, because before you had to allow driving time, getting lost time, getting stuck in the Blackwall Tunnel time, all that kind of stuff, right? Whereas now, you just got to wait for the person that you're supposed to be meeting to actually remember they've got a call with you and log on, right? So things are a lot quicker now. So how much time do you give to your business? if you don't diarize it, it won't happen. You've got to have a place in your diary. Now, one of the things that I do for fun, I guess, I have a YouTube channel. I have 2 YouTube channels. One of them is kind of on hold at the minute because no cruising, and it's the Cruise Queen. And the other one is a Christian teaching channel. And I started out doing a video a day until I got over 100 videos up there. That was a lot of commitment. Now I have 3 a week that I put up there. Now, to do those videos, I have to have study time. I have to have filming time. I have to have editing time and uploading time. So I block that time out of my diary. I don't take appointments during those times. Now, if somebody contacts me and says, oh, you know, I've tried to get an appointment for somebody that wants PMI, because I'm our hierarchy, I do all the PMI in our hierarchy. Nobody else wants to. And it's not big money, folks, so don't worry about it. Just let somebody else do the work. For me, it's easy, so I don't have a problem. But I've got somebody I have a meeting with them at this time, but there's no time in your diary. Can you fit me in? Then I'll have a look and I'll go, yeah, okay, I can. That was time I set aside for study, but I can rearrange it. Okay, I'll put it in the diary. But generally, I have time blocked out and I live by that. So if I've got an appointment, it goes in my diary. People have my diary. And if they want to talk to me, for anything other than, hi, Jan, how you doing? Or help, quick. You know, I get phone calls a lot that want help. But if they want to talk to me about something, they just schedule a Zoom call with me. They've got my diary. And that way, I know this is a business call. I know that I dress nicely. You know, I don't sit here in my onesie, which I might do. I was earlier in the day. I had my onesie on. And I know what I need to dress like. Now, I've got my joggers on at the bottom, but you can't see that, so that's all right. And my slippers. But you can only see the top, so that's all right. But your business requires time. When you're an EVP, we have leaders calls, we have EVP calls, we have compliance meetings. If Jeff calls a meeting, you better have it in your diary because that's business. Saturday mornings. Now, I don't know about you, but we have a hierarchy training meeting every Saturday morning. We have done for years. We've always had training Saturday mornings. And
make sure you know when this done.
That is in my diary. That's in the diary. And I don't do things apart from last Saturday. It was unavoidable. I had a doctor's appointment, which was unavoidable. But normally I wouldn't, put it like this, I wouldn't do a scoop or a carry back or a PMI appointment or an IP appointment during training. If people say, oh, sorry, I can't come to training, I've got a scoop. Why? Why have you got a scoop? That training is business. That's a business meeting. That's when your leader is going to be telling you stuff. That's when your leader is going to be sewing into you. Don't book scoops and carry backs during training time. Oh, well, my client couldn't do any other time. Listen, if they want a carry, if they want a scoop, if they want a plan, they will find a time. Do you think the bank manager rearranges his time to suit the clients? No, this is your business. You are not running around. You say, I'm sorry, I have a prior engagement. I can't do 9:30 on Saturday morning, or 9 o'clock Saturday morning. I can do 11, or I could do 5 in the afternoon. Which one would you prefer? See, you are in charge of your diary. So give your business enough time and give the things of your business the right time. I used to always go out on a Saturday. When I was working full time, which I was when I first started, Saturdays, I did my training, and then I went straight from training to my first appointment, and I did 5 appointments every Saturday. And, you know, that was just what I did. Doesn't suit everybody, but suited me. I didn't have any kids to worry about. So that was fine for me. So for others, what do you do for others? What do you do in your life for other people? What time do you take to help other people? Now, you might do that through your church. I'm the pastor, Alan and I pastor the older generation. We call it the legacy generation in our church, in 2 of our churches. So we have probably 70 people that we are responsible for. We're responsible for phoning them every single week. That's something that we chose to do as leaders. Throughout lockdown, since March, we have phoned every person. I have a team of people. I don't do it myself, all myself. I do quite a lot, but I have a team of people that phones every single person every single week. Now, do we speak to them every single week? No. Sometimes it's voicemail. Sometimes I'll leave a message. They'll send me a message, or they'll phone me back, whatever. They let me know they're okay. But we can have connection with them every single week. Now, a young couple phoned me the other day and said, how many of the people in your group come to Lincoln Central? Because I oversee Lincoln Central and Lincoln North. So there were 38 households. They bought a gift for 38 households and delivered them to my door today. That's for others. Now, this week and next week, me and 2 of my friends will be getting in the car and driving round to all of those 38 households and delivering those gifts with a card for everybody for Christmas, for others. Now, that might not be a massive thing. You might be doing something major. You might be building an orphanage somewhere, or you might be gifting things to people. You might have regular giving that you give. You know, I always said, if you can't go in person, you should go by person or purse. And if you can't go in person, you go by purse. You can give. I give into different charitable endeavors because I know the good they're doing. I can't go, I can't do it, but other people can, and I can help support it. So what are you doing for others? Your wealth is not just for you. When you make money, it's not just for you. Now, you might tithe into your church or your synagogue or your temple. That's great. But, you know, what about the rest of it? You know, what about more? I give 10% plus to the church, but then I have other missions in church that I give to, and other areas of charity that I give to. I love to give. And the more I get, the more I give. I love to give. So what do you do for others? And then finally, what is the legacy that you're leaving behind? What's for eternity? You know, don't be like the people that we mention in our presentation, that the only legacy that some people will be leaving their family is debt. Do not be that person. Make sure that you've got any property and life cover you've got is in trust. Make sure you have a will. Make sure you don't, you know, listen, I know I've dealt with different nationalities and different cultures for many, many years. And I know that in some cultures, it's, you know, like talking about death. It's like, you know, in fact, I had one guy, he said, don't mention that someone might die. You've got to mention don't say to the husband or the wife, if your husband were to pass away, like we do. No, they said, say, if a husband were to pass away, one guy said I can't remember the expression he used now. Anyway, then would the wife need, right? Because they didn't like to, somehow it was like wrong to speak about death for that person. Listen, I got news for you guys. It's given unto man once to die. That's it. We're all going. There is nobody here that isn't going to go. Don't matter how much you want to, don't matter how much money you've got, you're going. And so you might as well prepare for it. So what are you doing for eternity? What are you doing for to leave as a legacy? Your legacy might not be finances. Your legacy might be educating your family so that they can be financially free. Your legacy to them might be being the kind of mom or dad that they can be proud of. You know, my son was 50 a couple of weeks ago. I know, I had him when I was 4. And we did a little video for him, you know, the team. And afterwards, he said to the team, he said, thank you so much. He said, but I just do have to thank my mum and dad. He said, you know, because they've always believed in me. They've always encouraged me in everything I do. He said, if I came home and said, I want to be an astronaut, my mum wouldn't go, oh, don't be stupid, you can't be an astronaut. She'd say, well, okay, let's find out what you need to do to be an astronaut. And he said, so I always knew that I could do whatever I wanted to do. I just had to know, you know, I raised my kids with the proof of desire is pursuit. Don't tell me you want to do something if you're not prepared to do what it takes to get there. If you're telling me I want to play the piano and you've never bothered looking at lessons or never picked up a guitar, you want to play the guitar, but you've never picked up a guitar and learned a few chords, that's a lie. You can't, you know. That is not true. You don't want to play guitar. If you've never picked up a guitar and learned 3 chords, then you don't want to play guitar. It's as simple as that. Proof of desire is pursuit. So my great legacy for my kids is I gave them a belief in themselves and loads of love. Love them to pieces. And I'm so proud of both my children. And that's the major legacy that I've given them is, and I've given them, of course, Alan gave them a sense of humor, which, you know, we won't talk about that. But we gave them belief that they could do whatever they wanted to do. That was the legacy that I've left for my kids. So questions, I've got 10 minutes left, 11 minutes. Any questions, folks? You can unmute. I have to give you permission, don't I? Oh no, you've got permission. You've got permission to unmute. Or you can put it in the chat. No questions. I must have done a great job if you got no questions. Is there anybody there? Am I still talking to people?
Yes. Yes.
I'm not left by myself. I tried to make sure I could leave some question time.